Hello, seventh graders. Today we're going to be talking about the colonies declaring their independence. Independence Day. We're looking at Chapter 6, Section 2, titled The Colonies Declare Independence. And this section is going to address those events that would lead to, in July of 1776, the colonies declaring themselves free and independent from the mother country, Britain. This section consists of 5 vocab terms, 2 of which appear here at the top of the worksheet. First term, Declaration of Independence, a document that declares the 13 colonies to be free from British rule. And the second term is natural rights, rights that belong to all people at birth. As American citizens, we are said to be born with natural rights, the rights to life, liberty, and to pursue happiness. Those rights, in addition to many others, are rights that as American citizens are considered natural rights, rights we are born with at birth. The rest of the vocab deck can be found on your Quizlet page, and each week I tend to post your vocab terms on the Google Classroom site as well for students to access them there. Okay, getting right to our reading. Although the colonists had begun fighting the British, many still felt loyal to the king. Then, in early 1776, Thomas Paine published a pamphlet called Common Sense. And in this pamphlet, Thomas Paine argued the case for American independence. He wrote that the colonists owed nothing to Britain, which had only helped colonists for its own profit. Paine stated that having a king or queen was wrong, and common sense persuaded many colonists to support independence. We will talk more about Thomas Paine in class. We'll see a couple of video clips about his life and about his pamphlet called Common Sense, which was a major influencer of public opinion in the colonies in the months before the colonies declare independence. The members of the Continental Congress asked Thomas Jefferson to write a document declaring that the United States was now an independent country. And on July 4th, 1776, the Continental Congress passed the Declaration of Independence. Copies of the Declaration were sent all around the colonies, and they cheered the Declaration, firing guns in celebration and pulling down statues of the king. Loyalists in the colonies, and remember last section we said that about 1/3 of colonists were loyalists. Loyalists in the colonies did not support independence. They wanted to remain loyal to Britain. Let's take a look at the Declaration of Independence, which has 3 main parts. It is not a very long document at all. I have a copy in the classroom in the back of the room on the wall that you can look at. It is not a long document at all, but it does consist of 3 main parts, and we'll take a look at those parts in the chart in a moment. The first part stresses the idea that everyone is born with natural rights given to them by God. And these rights include life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The document states that if a government fails to respect those rights, then the people have the right to rebel against it. So that is an important part of the Declaration. The Declaration says that if a government fails to respect the rights of the people, then the people have the right to rebel against it. Now let's look at the chart on the right-hand side of your page titled The Declaration of Independence, and I've broken it down here into 3 segments. The first part, the beginning of the document, begins with the section on natural rights, which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, that's the first section, the list of natural rights, the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The second section, or the second segment of the Declaration, lists the wrongs committed by Britain. In other words, Section 2, which is the longest section of the document, Section 2 lists all those things that Britain had done to the colonies that were wrong and therefore justified the colonists taking their action. By declaring their independence, they are including Section 2 by listing the wrongs committed by Britain to give the world and to give people that read the Declaration an understanding of why the colonists are doing what they're doing. They're not doing what they're doing without careful consideration. They did not want to give people or countries or other nations, they did not want to give the impression that they were making this decision rashly or without giving it thought. So they included in Section 2 the justification of why they were doing what they're doing, the list of British wrongs. The third section is the actual declaration, the statement that the United States of America is now an independent nation. There are the three sections of the Declaration of Independence. I will have a copy in one of the classes that we study this week on the Declaration. I will pass a copy around so you can look at it and read it. But it is a short document, three sections, 1, 2, and 3. And let's go now to our questions at the bottom of the page. Question 1 is going to be based entirely on the reading. What arguments did the pamphlet Common Sense make in favor of independence? What arguments, what were the reasons Common Sense was in favor? What things were happening? What arguments did Common Sense make in favor of the colonies declaring their independence? Please refer to the reading to answer that question. Question 2 is your chart skills question. Take a look at it. What are the three main parts of the Declaration of Independence? And you are going to use the chart that appears above to answer that question. What are the three main parts of the Declaration of Independence? And we'll take a moment to discuss those in class now. In our next section, Chapter 6, Section 3, we'll be looking at the war shifting to the Middle States, the states of New York and Pennsylvania, New Jersey and Delaware, and that will be the topic we will visit rather, in our next lesson on the American Revolution. Chapter 6, Section 3, Struggles in the Middle States, coming up soon.